A big charge.
5, 4, 3.
Good evening and welcome to the Monomoy Regional School Committee meeting for Monday, December 22nd, 2025. And we will call the meeting to order at 5:31. Next on our agenda is reports and discussion, and we will have a discussion of our superintendent finalists. To begin, I would just like to make a statement. I would like to thank our community, staff, and faculty for their engagement and patience as the school committee prepares to make the biggest decision of this district's history to date. I would also like to thank those screening committee members that emailed the school committee after our last meeting. We know that delaying the vote was not part of our original timeline, but necessary to allow all committee members to be fully prepared to vote. As we begin tonight, I wanted to share a bit more about this very public process to ensure clarity and transparency. When we began this process in September, we opted to work with a consultant from Massachusetts Association of School Committees to guide us through a process that has not happened in our district for 13 years. MASC supports many superintendent searches throughout Massachusetts and has a great deal of experience and expertise in best practice. Our liaison guided us through the creation of the screening committee, open meeting law training, and setting a timeline for the process. The timeline for Monomoy's superintendent search was set in September and was based on the recent practice of superintendent searches in our state. Our consultant also guided us in creating interview questions for the screening committee to use with semifinalists. This included each member submitting suggested questions to the chair, who then eliminated duplicate questions, combined questions with common themes, and made sure that the committee was asking questions that directly connected to the qualities and credentials that our community was looking for in a superintendent. After reviewing applications, the screening committee came together in an executive session to interview semifinals candidates. Using a rubric for MASC, the screening committee determined the 3 candidates who would move forward in the finalist round. In preparation for the final round of interviews, all members of the school committee had an opportunity to submit questions to the chair to create a standard set of questions to be asked of each finalist. The same process was followed with the semifinal round to determine the questions. At our December 11th meeting, the school committee announced the 3 finalists, reviewed the interview questions, and determined who would ask each one. Some school committee members volunteered to call references at this meeting as well, and all of the references that were called checked out as highly satisfactory for the candidate in question. With the support of leadership across the district, we were able to have all 3 candidates visit our schools and meet staff, students, and administrators, and gave staff in the community the opportunity to join each candidate at meet and greets. Those who met with the candidates, either during the day or at the meet and greet sessions, were able to share feedback, which we will share momentarily. As the chair, I believe that we have done our due diligence to proceed through a very transparent and thorough process over the last few months. Guided by the expertise from MASC and with the hard work of our screening committee, I hope that the short extension of our timeline provided ample time for those committee members who needed it to review all of the information in order to be able to vote confidently this evening. I appreciate the patience of the finalists as the committee took this extra time. My hope is that the entire committee will now be able to enthusiastically vote for our next superintendent with our students, staff, and community at the forefront of our minds. So to begin to continue our discussion, we thought we would just review the forum feedback that I shared out with the whole committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Feedback from the candidates' visits. During the candidates' visits to Monomoy last Monday and Tuesday, they had the opportunity to meet with staff, students, administrators, families, and community members. After each of those meetings, people had the opportunity to submit anonymous feedback on the candidates via an online form. The form asked respondents to indicate whether they do not recommend with reservation, or strongly recommend the candidate, and also provided open-ended questions for them to share further feedback. Here's a summary of that feedback. Dr. Beauchesne, 41 responses. 5 do not recommend, 15 recommend with reservation, 21 strongly recommend. Dr. Thompson, 48 responses. 11 do not recommend, 15 recommend with reservation, 22 strongly recommend. Dr. Millen, 37 responses. 1 do not recommend, 3 recommend with reservation, 33 strongly recommend. The Dr. Beauchesne narrative feedback. Feedback on this candidate reflects a mixed overall assessment, recognizing her as personable, collaborative, articulate, and supportive, with notable strengths in pre-K through 6 education, curriculum, assessment, early literacy and math, special education, and evidence-based practice. Many respondents appreciated her professionalism, openness to listening, inclusive leadership style, and strong educational background, and felt she would be supportive of staff, equity efforts, and collaboration within schools. At the same time, significant concerns were raised about her fit and readiness for the superintendent role in a regional pre-K to 12 district. Common themes included limited experience at the middle and high school levels, unclear scope of leadership responsibilities, limited exposure to regional governance, budgets, and town politics, and a lack of specificity regarding vision and implementation for Monomoy. Several respondents questioned her ability to make difficult decisions, advocate forcefully with select boards, and lead the district through complex or high-stakes challenges. Overall, while viewed as capable and thoughtful, many respondents were uncertain she is the right candidate for Monomoy at this time. Dr. Thompson's narrative feedback. Feedback reflects a range of perspectives on the candidate, highlighting both notable strengths and areas of concern. Many respondents described the candidate as highly personable, approachable, and student-centered. His experience as a superintendent and interim superintendent, familiarity with regional districts, and ability to communicate effectively with towns, select boards, and community stakeholders were also cited as strengths. At the same time, a significant number of respondents raised concerns regarding long-term commitment and fit, noting the candidate's professional history, including multiple interim and short-term roles, leading some to question longevity, continuity, and sustained leadership. Others expressed uncertainty about the depth of his instructional leadership, particularly in pre-K through 6 education, and whether his experience aligns fully with the district's current needs and strategic direction. Some respondents also noted his responses were broad or lengthy and would benefit from greater specificity. Overall, feedback suggests that while the candidate brings strong interpersonal skills, experience, and a clear commitment to student engagement, there are ongoing questions about long-term investment, instructional depth, and alignment with the district's unique structure and future goals. Dr. Millen's narrative feedback. Feedback on Dr. Robin Millen is overwhelmingly positive, with strong support from staff, students, families, and community members. Respondents consistently cited her deep institutional knowledge, long-standing commitment to the district, and clear instructional vision as key strengths. Many noted that her understanding of Monomoy's regional structure would allow for a smooth transition with minimal learning curve. She is widely viewed as student-centered, equity-minded, and focused on academic rigor, with particular strengths in curriculum, professional development, and whole child education. Dr. Millen is also recognized for her authentic relationships, high expectations, and ability to unify the district and community. Students reported feeling safe, valued, and heard, and many respondents expressed confidence in her ability to address challenges such as declining enrollment, achievement gaps, and community engagement. Concerns were limited and primarily centered on perceptions of her high standards and drive, which some felt could be challenging for those resistant to change. Overall, feedback reflects strong confidence in Dr. Millen's readiness and suitability to serve as superintendent, with broad agreement that she offers stability, vision, and continuity at a critical time for the district. The overall summary. Across all feedback, Dr. Robin Millen emerged as the strongest and most consistently supported candidate. Her feedback was overwhelmingly positive for students, staff, families, and community members, with respondents citing her deep institutional knowledge, long-term commitment to Monomoy, and clear instructional vision. She is widely viewed as student-centered, equity-minded, and well-positioned to provide stability, continuity, and purposeful leadership at a critical moment for the district. Concerns raised were limited to generally related to the challenges inherent in strong, high-expectation leadership rather than questions of readiness or fit. Dr. Beauchesne was viewed as capable, thoughtful, and collaborative, with notable strengths in elementary education and curriculum. But feedback reflected broad uncertainty about her readiness to lead a regional pre-K to 12 district. Concerns centered on limited middle and high school experience, regional governance, budgeting, and political advocacy, as well as a lack of specificity regarding vision and implementation from Monomoy. Dr. Thompson received mixed feedback. While he was praised for his personability, approachability, and strong rapport with students, significant concerns were consistently raised regarding longevity, depth of instructional leadership, particularly at the pre-K 6 level, and overall fit with Monomoy's long-term needs. Questions about his history of short-term and interim roles led many respondents to express uncertainty about sustained leadership and alignment with the district's strategic direction. Overall, feedback indicates that while all three candidates bring strengths, Dr. Millen is most strongly aligned with the district's current priorities, offering demonstrated commitment, instructional leadership, and the ability to unify and advance the district on a continued positive trajectory.
So, although we had the feedback now, that was able to be summarized for us. So now we know how our community staff feel about the three finalists. I was thinking that we could each make comments about how we're feeling after we've been able to review all of the application information, review our notes from the interviews, and now have the feedback. So, if we all want to comment on how we're feeling.
I am comfortable with the vote, making a vote.
I'm comfortable making the vote as well. I just do want to point out a couple things about the survey. So it doesn't surprise me that there was overwhelming support for our internal candidate. People know her very well, know what she's capable of. I'm not questioning, anything about her ability. Some of the meetings that we had when we walked candidates around were only 15 minutes long. So to me, it's a little tough to make a complete decision based off of a 15-minute conversation. So I just want people to be aware of that. And in terms of the question about the longevity of one of the candidates, he was actually the only one that was forthcoming with how many years he actually plans on having left, which I actually think is, admirable. And his time frame, I think, is enough to set goals and carry out those goals before he retires. And I think just as a district, we have to realize that we're probably not going to ever end up with a superintendent that has led the district as long as Dr. Carpenter. So I just want to put those comments out there.
Excellent.
I think I first would like to thank my other committee members for extending a couple more days. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the support for all of us to just take a little bit more time to go through everything. It truly meant a lot. And I did get, a number of emails, as I think we all did, and I did take the opportunity to really listen to folks and how they felt, and I would agree with Ryan that everything in a process sometimes is a snapshot, so it's important when you kind of put that album together, and for lack of a better analogy, and kind of look at it as one full picture. I truly appreciate this summation of the feedback. I think this was very helpful, as well as I was reading the tiny print on the other one. I was able to review my notes that I took and the responses to each question and kind of what my feedback was, and tried to figure out again, like, what was I thinking when they were, answering those questions. And I will say that the information together, I was able to participate in the community forums, and I was here for the interviews as well, and then the opportunity to speak with folks in the community and in the district after what may have been a short visit. Some actually had one-on-ones, so that was beneficial as well. So I would just like to thank the committee for the time, and it really gave me a better picture and vision for what I'm thinking for the district.
Excellent. Bye. We're skipping that.
Look at Scott for a second.
I am still ready to vote, as I was.
Steve?
For me, it came down to the two women, and they both follow the same path in their careers. So then I looked at how that path went. Robin has twice the amount of time as a teacher in the classroom, but Vanessa has twice the amount of time as a principal and twice the amount of time as the assistant superintendent. I think those are very positive aspects, because this role is the the supreme administrative job in our district. And I felt that she had a little bit of an edge when it came to that. I'm not sure how Robin will do dealing with boards of selectmen and finance committees. I have never seen her in that role, but that's a tough position to be in, especially if you've been part of the district, and so you're viewed as the assistant, not as the lead. Just my take.
I really thought all three candidates were terrific. It's interesting to go through we got all of the resumes and narrowed it down, and I thought it was a great process, and I thought we picked the top three people to do it. Also, I take issue with one of the comments, and I understand, that Dr. Thompson has, been in interim things, but I don't think it's not always a straight path. Things are just not always a straight line so I understand the comment from people, but I also thought that that was not something that would bother me. Again, I thought all three were terrific candidates. I would not be disappointed with any of them. And those are my comments. But we have to choose somebody and who's going to best represent the district. So I'm ready to vote tonight.
I do also agree that we did come to find the top three candidates that had applied. So I believe all three of them have strengths in their own right. I do believe that even in a role as superintendent, you can't know everything walking in. So I think that there is some room to grow. And I did think about the work that has to be done between the select boards and the school committee with all three of them. And I think that Dr. Millen has been a part of those conversations, maybe not at the table at the select board meetings, but she's been part of the process. I think Dr. Thompson has been in the seat at the table, but not at our district. And Vanessa had been at the seat, but with a smaller grade level span. So I think that, all three of them had strengths in that regard. But I think I'm definitely ready to vote tonight as well.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion.
Okay.
I will make a motion that impending contract negotiations, which would be a requisite thing, I'm going to recommend and make a motion that Dr. Robin Millen become the next superintendent of the Monomoy Regional District.
I'll second.
I'll second that.
And then we roll call vote. Ms. Gray?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
I'm going to abstain.
Ms. Seibert Long?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr.
No.
Duval?
Aye.
And I am an aye.
It's a lot of math now.
Okay. So, do we have, that's it?
Madam Chair, can I
Yes.
make a motion that we do another roll call vote, and I hope that we can get a unanimous decision?
Sure. So we'll have to retract Your second? Or can we just vote again?
I don't exactly know the procedure.
Are you requiring a unanimous vote?
No, not requiring, but as a show of solidarity, there was enough.
I will not change my vote.
Okay,
Okay.
we can leave it at that.
Well, then Dr. Millen will be the next superintendent of the Monomoy Regional School District. And the next item on our agenda is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Oh, before we adjourn, sorry, Dr. Carpenter. I'm going to pass the mic to Dr. Carpenter.
So I think one of the most interesting things about a process like this is, the superintendent doesn't weigh in. The superintendent, all the other decisions I'm involved in, this one I literally, pull myself out of. I definitely, understand, Steve's concerns about, what would Robin be like at a select board meeting? And I will comment that, one of the nice things about having Robin and Michael as a team with me is when one of us isn't there, there's always two of us at the table, and Robin has had the chance to be at the table, and as long as I make a short presentation, she won't have to be at the table in my place tonight, but would be welcome to be there because we have to get to the Harwich Select Board. I did want to just share just some thoughts about the decision and my need to pull myself out of the process and not endorse or recommend any candidate, including internal ones. And now that the committee's taken a vote, I at least wanted to publicly share. I didn't write a letter of recommendation for Dr. Millen for the superintendent search process, but I did write a letter of recommendation for her 5 years ago when I encouraged her to grow as an administrator and to seek out a district-level position elsewhere. I'll summarize what I wrote then as it speaks to how fortunate Monomoy is to have Dr. Millen as its next leader. I hired Dr. Millen to be the assistant principal at Harwich Elementary School 12 years ago in my second year as superintendent here at Monomoy. It was her first administrative role. From my initial conversation with Robin, it was abundantly clear that she was going to be what I consider to be a franchise player, someone that you see as key to a team's success and someone that you try to build your team around. At the end of her first year, I encouraged her to apply for an open position at Chatham Elementary School. And after 1 year as an administrator, the hiring committee advanced to me, Robin, as their top finalist to become that principal at Chatham Elementary School. And it's rare that somebody goes from assistant principal to principal in just 1 year, but it really speaks to a lot of her strengths. Chatham Elementary may be a small school, but under her leadership, the faculty became engaged in some amazing cutting-edge initiatives based on her managerial strengths and curricular expertise and vision for improving both her school and district. I consider her to be the strongest of our principals at the time. And if you look back at school committee minutes, you'll notice that Robin was always the person I had go first in presenting anything, and there was a reason for that. She set a high bar when it came to collecting, analyzing, sharing educational data. As a principal, Robin worked with her staff to write and secure grants that supported professional development initiatives benefiting Chatham Elementary and extended that knowledge through the district. When our elementary playground was considered not ADA compliant, she secured a $300,000 grant funding to replace that playground. She's a data-driven leader, thoughtfully guiding teaching and learning to close the achievement gap. As the demographics rapidly shifted at Chatham Elementary School in the last decade, with now 1/3 of all of the kindergartners coming from households where English is a second language, Robin was able to maintain a relatively stable MCAS outcomes despite the pronounced demographic shifts. She's played a vital role in developing a strong culture at the elementary school that we see today. And in her spare time, she managed to manage a food bank at Chatham Elementary School to support needy families in Chatham. I admired how she began her doctorate while working with us and completing it. She's incredibly thoughtful when it comes to educational issues and has a heart of gold. I think this is evident in the way she advocates for each child and their family. She has an unparalleled mind when it comes to understanding student achievement, guiding the faculty to use data to individualize interventions for children. She's a quintessential team player, working closely with the administrative team, school councils, instructional leaders, our unions, peers in other districts, parents, and stakeholders. Above all, I summarized in my recommendation 5 years ago when I encouraged her to apply for the curriculum director position in Nauset. I often tell people that I loaned Robin to Nauset, wanting her to gain district-level experience and hoping that she'd return to Monomoy had an opening for a curriculum director ever come up. At the time, we had a curriculum director, Mark Smith, who I'd been mentoring to be a superintendent. 3 years ago, I proudly watched Dennis Yarmouth's school committee vote to appoint Mark as their next superintendent. I immediately picked up the phone, called Robin, and I asked her one question: "Are you ready to come home?" She responded with an enthusiastic yes. She returned to Monomoy as an even stronger educational leader than she had been when she left. She has become a boots-on-the-ground style administrator, guided by her heart, her personal convictions, and her intellect. Those traits shone through in what I met, from when I met her 12 years ago. I think they came through in the comments that were read today. I definitely saw it in the Robin that we saw at last week's interview with the school committee. I've been blessed to work with someone of her caliber, learning from her and growing with her for the past dozen years. She's played an integral role in helping me guide Monomoy from its infancy to where we are today. A goal of mine as I approach the end of my tenure here has been to leave behind a strong, stable administrative team that will continue to guide Monomoy forward, and I proudly look forward to working with Dr. Millen to support her successful transition. I could not think of anyone with more nurturing hands, heart, or head to guide the next chapter of this district. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so back to adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? All right, good evening and congratulations to Dr. Millen.